Hey everyone. So I'm here to talk about an album that has caused a lot of controversy. Well, not controversy in its traditional meaning of, a bunch of moral confusion, whatever. How most people seem to use controversy as a word, but a band that is praised by some and ridiculed by others, while these two opposing forces come together and just kind of boost the band's popularity. We're talking about a band called Black Veil Brides with their new album entitled Wretched and Divine, The Story of the Wild Ones. I have the CD right here. Now, judging by the fact that I have the CD, you can probably tell that this is going to be a little bit more positive review than the rest of, the reviews on YouTube, such as Cover Killer Nation's review. Absent Production, I think was the name of the guy. This is a band that whenever they were first starting out, your song Knives and Pens was really big, and it was very much, a lot of people in, the scene kid, emo kind of culture. I mean, I like a lot of bands in that culture, don't get me wrong. They were really big in that time. And then when they came out with their second album entitled Set the World on Fire, a lot of people were like, oh, they've stepped up their game. They're getting closer to real metal. As people like to say, I really can't stand any of that metal elitist crap. I mean, yeah, I do listen to some of the bands that are considered real metal. Look right here. Yeah, anyways, a lot of people were like, they're getting close to real metal, but they could do better. And then other people were saying, I want more songs like Knives and Pens. I want more songs like The Mortician's Daughter, We Stitch These Wounds. Other songs like that, they were like, we don't like it. We like it when they mixed post-hardcore with glam metal, rather than just going for kind of an old-school Kiss style. Then, a lot of people, they were like, what's going to happen with this next album, Wretched and Divine? Now, as a person who liked the first two albums and their EP, pretty well, I did like those three first releases. I wondered what kind of turn they were going to take with this album, because of the drastic turn I saw them take. I thought they were probably going to take another big turn with this album, and they did. I feel like a lot of people use a lot of very cliche criticisms to describe this band, and a lot of the criticism that they receive is actually because of their physical appearance, the way that they present themselves, rather than the actual quality of the music. They go for a style that's kind of like a mix of a glam metal style and a black metal style, both in the clothing and the face paint. They receive a lot of criticism for that, rather than the content quality of their actual music. Now, are there some negative specs to their music? Sure. There are a few generic cliches here and there. Now, as far as this album, I have good things and bad things to say about it. So, I got the album and I've listened to it a couple times. It starts in with Andy talking. He's saying, talking something about the kingdom of God or something like that. I really have a bad memory when it comes to that, but we're talking about the music. Then the first song comes in, and it's just kind of this sudden smash where you don't expect it, and then the first song is kind of just like an in-your-face, we're here, this is our new album, this is our return. I feel like that's kind of the, atmosphere that the song kind of has. It's like a very intense preface to a large series of events, kind of like in a movie when the movie first starts and there are a lot of, there's like a big war going on or something like that, or there's a big fight. It's kind of like that is what it feels like, and stuff like that. Now, I was thinking about Cover Killer Nation's review of this album, and he said, this guitarist does not have to be in this band, and he's working very, very hard to make this album better. Now, in some places, I would agree with that. Um, it feels like the band really isn't doing a lot, and the guitarist is just kind of adding, technical stuff and, riffs to try and make up for their lack of effort. Could this be true? Maybe. Maybe it's just the way that they prefer to write their music. I don't know. Now, for the most part, the flow of this album is very good because, it kind of starts off and you have the fear transmissions, which are kind of like interludes, kind of talking about what's going on in the story, which I feel like they do a very good job of making the story flow. It kind of three-fourths the way through this album just kind of gets boring, in a sense. It's just kind of like I just want to move on to some other bands, or some other songs. It just kind of makes you want to skip to the last song in the end rather than hearing the rest of the songs on the album. Now, that should make sense. That should be a concept that makes sense because I'm sure that we've all had an album where you're like, okay, this is good at first, and then it kind of gets boring after a while. And then there are just a few songs that you like, and you don't really listen to the rest, and the rest is just filler. I feel like that kind of happens with this album in some places. Now, if you were to start where it got boring and listen to those songs from where it got boring maybe an hour later, then it would probably be a little more stimulating rather than boring. I don't think it's the songs themselves that are boring. I think it's just kind of the flow of the album itself, not the flow of the story, because like I said, that's good. The flow of the album itself is kind of badly done. Now, I've talked about that, and I feel like they wrap it up very well at the end with kind of a slower song, and then it goes into a fear transmission, and then there's kind of just in the end, which is the, big finale, just in your face finale, like you feel like you get at some concerts, and at the end of the movie, it's just a very in your face ending. And then there's the final fear transmission, and the album trails off with that, which I feel like was a very epic ending. Now we're going to talk about the songwriting. Like I said, Cover Killer Nation is partially correct in some places, I feel like, but as far as the songwriting goes, he said, they're just a generic rock band doing their genericness better than other bands. I feel like this is true in some sense. I feel like there's a bit of generic playing in some places, yes. But for the most part, I feel like the songwriting is fairly solid, and the singing is okay. It wasn't really my favorite. They kind of just eliminated screams completely, but they did that and set the world on fire. I feel like there were some really positive parts to songwriting as well, and some very creative riffs here and there. Now, as far as the solos go, I feel like there's some unique solos, and then I feel like there's some recycled solos. So, as far as this album goes, obviously I bought the CD, so I think it's a pretty good album for the most part. I think this is a good return for Black Veil Brides, but I feel like that they can improve their sound a little bit more. That they can get rid of their cliches, that they can become an all-over better band. And I really don't care about the criticism that this band receives, or in some cases hate. I know there are some cases where hate is actually validly applied, but criticism is generally what I like to think. I think that they should keep doing whatever they want to. They're entitled to do whatever they want to as a band, as a group of individuals making music, rather than just going, nobody likes their looks, and we should just change it because nobody likes it. I don't think they should do that. They should do whatever the heck they want, but I would like it if they, kind of improved their sound and stepped up their game a little bit, worked on getting rid of their cliches. So in total, I'd say this is a pretty good album. I'd probably rate it 6.5 or 7 out of 10. I do plan on doing another review of the Winter Sun Time 1 album, which I finally got the other day, as well as this album, so that one's pretty cool. But that's pretty much all I have to say. Like I said, I feel like there are a lot of crappy cliches that really don't apply to this band, or cliche criticisms, and some of you may be surprised by this review, me saying positive things, or you may not be surprised considering the fact that I listen to a lot of core bands, whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. So if you have any, thoughts, go ahead and post your thoughts in the comments, maybe a video response, tell me what you think about the album. I'd like to hear, a lot of opinions, a lot of, I'd like to hear some other criticism as well. So I'll just catch you guys later. I'd like to see what you guys think of it. Have a great rest of your day. Keep it metal, everyone. Bye.